It kind of has little fibers. It's a bug. Hey guys, this is Ryan with Vapor Honda Technologies. I am very excited about what we're doing today because I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe these are off of my favorite four-wheeler of all time, the Honda TRX250R. This thing is legendary when it comes to any sort of racing quad. It's still used today, actually. A lot of people have switched over to 450 frames, but this thing for the time was completely revolutionary with just the amount of speed that you were able to carry through corners with this thing and how light and agile that it felt. We've got a lot more parts from this thing, but we've actually got the cylinder here and I believe one of the side covers for the engine. Don't know which one I want to do yet. I'm actually going to flip a coin because I can't decide where to start with this thing. We're going to get to it. I really think this is going to clean up nice, and I want to see how this aluminum was preserved under here. So we'll have to do a little bit of coating removal. I'm not certain if they're going to want to coat this back, so I might do it in glass bead, and then they can always send it back and we can prep it for coating. But I think it would look really nice as just that polished aluminum. So what do you think? This is tails, this is heads. Heads. Dude, I'm excited. You realize how good this thing's gonna look? This aluminum always polishes up better than I'm expecting, especially if we do a little bit of burnishing effect at the end, just to turn the pressure down on the machine and let it just roll over this part. I think they're going to rehome the cylinder, so we're good to blast pretty much everywhere on this thing. This looks really good, dude. This must have been a barn find. Just look at how good this, I'll let you get some before footage. Just as a little example of how I hope that this cylinder turns out is actually this little head right here. Now this is off of our 50cc project and it started off looking just as bad as this thing does. It's actually off of this bike, which we hope to get back together pretty soon. This one here's been finished up. You guys can see how good these engine components look on this thing. But this head turned out phenomenal. Literally have no words because it looks better than it would have when it came off the assembly line. Like I said, I hope that we can replicate these amazing characteristics on this part right here. So let's go ahead. We're gonna actually throw this in our VH1000 HD. We haven't changed out the abrasive in this machine in a while actually, because it sees pretty much continuous use here in our showroom. So I'm curious to see if there's any degradation on the abrasive. If there is, we'll have a darker color and I can kind of show you guys how your abrasive plays a characteristic. If not, if it looks great, then we'll just roll with it. So let's go ahead and get to it. The reason that I'm actually choosing glass bead is because it is a round hollow abrasive. It doesn't actually cut the surface, it rolls across it. And this is what provides that nice polished finish. And actually for cast aluminum, if you ever look at aluminum under a microscope, it kind of has little fibers. So with glass bead, you're actually able to roll those fibers. And that's kind of through the clean by flow nature of wet blasting. Because you have the water that's cushioning the abrasive when it hits the surface, it actually allows that abrasive to just roll over the part and use its characteristics of its geometry. So for instance, with glass bead, it is round, so it will roll. And again, that's what provides that really nice and bright polished finish. Another major advantage of using glass bead with aluminum parts is actually that it seals it. So when you're rolling those fibers over, it actually creates a more uniform surface and it's not as susceptible to things like oils, grease, just your standard grime that you would see on an engine. So this coating will last a lot longer than it would if you were to blast it in something like a sandblaster. And it also preserves the coating, so you really don't have the need to paint it afterwards. So it's a great way to cut down on the time that you're actually having to spend on these parts. I want to show you guys. I just want to show you guys this already. I mean, that was literally 20, 30 seconds. Check this out. Look at how beautiful that's already looking. You can see where we started and where we're at. So we're blasting somewhere around 100 PSI. And as I gradually go down in pressure, this finish is only going to get better. This abrasive is perfectly fine. I mean, it's been in here for a month and that's typically when we recommend to change it. And this thing has seen everyday use. So yeah, you're perfectly fine to run glass bead for a month. That looks phenomenal. Now I'm really excited to see how the rest of this thing turns out. Just another little quick update on the progress, guys. This is before, this is after. That is insane. And what, we've been working for maybe a combined 2 minutes?
Yeah.
No time at all. I mean, we are making super fast progress. I'm kind of starting to get worried about this rubber. I guess it's where the gasket, like this right here is gasket material. It's actually kind of funny. Back in the day, we always claimed that we could not remove gasket material just because of how well it was bonded to the surface and it kind of absorbed the wet blasting force. But recently we've learned that we can. Most gaskets will come off. Actually, and it's just like anodizing, because we used to think that we couldn't remove type 3 anodizing, I believe, black anodizing. But you can pretty much remove any sort of anodizing with just about every abrasive. Glass bead's kind of difficult just because it doesn't have a cutting edge. But if you're using something like an aluminum oxide, we've had great success at removing and prepping for anodizing. But let's get back to it. Boom. Just like that, another beautiful mating surface. That's actually something else I need to mention. Because vapor honing is non-aggressive, you do not have to worry about damaging these important sealing surfaces. So on the top of this head here, you don't have to worry about damaging that. You don't have to worry about the intake. You don't have to worry about your exhaust, any of it. It will always seal up, especially where it mounts in here to the motor. You're not gonna have to worry about damaging any of these metals, no matter how thin they are. If you start dealing with very thin metals, just from the pressure, you might have to turn it down, because that's something that the wet blasting process doesn't actually harm, it's just the pressure. But wet blasting is very safe on all these metals. We've actually even blasted rubber boots. You can blast plastic parts in these things. Just be cautious of your pressure. Your abrasive choice doesn't really matter as much. If you're using something like silicon carbide, you probably could damage it. But if you're using glass bead to polish stuff up, it doesn't matter. You don't really have to disassemble all of those rubber pieces. Throw them in here, they'll come out looking great too. Man, that freaking works. Look at this, dude. Literally just for making a pass. I'll pull this out so you guys can see the gasket material I was talking about. Here's the side where I'm working my way over. Here's this gasket material, which is some seriously gnarly stuff. And it is just peeling it off like it's no problem. All that carbon buildup, I didn't even really mean to hit the inside here, but it's starting to remove that, no problem. This thing's gonna look beautiful, dude. They better let me ride it. They better let me ride it. That's all I have to say. They can ship me with the parts back. Whatever it takes, man. I'll buy my airfare. Do I need to turn the lights off so that it doesn't reflect off and like blur out the camera? Dude, that is just about as beautiful as it gets. I've really only worked on this thing for about 10 minutes. And that is looking phenomenal. But I know you might be thinking, I do believe there are some ferrous metal parts on this thing and we want to make sure to preserve those. And you might be thinking, oh, well, water in this process, this thing's gonna look like a rust bucket. And to that, we have this. So this is actually our proprietary corrosion inhibitor. This stuff works awesome. It guarantees up to 72 hours. Non-rusty parts. After you finish blasting, you can actually completely dry this stuff off. You don't have to leave any sort of waxy substance on the part, which means that you can easily roll into coatings afterwards. We know a lot of times you have to blast your parts, allow them to sit, because it's just how production works, and then they go into coating. But like I said, this stuff guarantees up to 72 hours. It's actually fairly inexpensive, and this stuff actually allows you to keep the awesome finish that wet blasting provided safe, like I said, for up to 72 hours. So we're gonna add a little bit of this into the machine. I'm just gonna dump it directly on it. It's a super complicated process to actually put this stuff in your machine. Okay, and like that, we're good. Also, that bluish color will disappear. It's just the color of the corrosion inhibitor. It won't actually affect the finish on your part. So I'm actually just gonna rinse this guy down. Dude, this might be the nicest part I've ever blasted. That looks so good, dude. All right, we're gonna have to get this thing in good lighting to do the after shot. We'll take this outside. Holy crap. Dude, it does not get much better than that. We both got sunglasses on just to look at it. It's too bright. We gotta dull it down, dude. That is the true vapor finish. That is just about as good as it gets. That's kind of what we've been trying to use to explain what this finish is, because there's nothing out there like it. And it is a true vapor finish. Well guys, I hope you liked the results that we were able to achieve here today. I think this part looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, it truly looks better than it did probably when it came out of the factory. Make sure you stay tuned so you guys can see the rest of the parts that come from this thing. We've got a whole box full that was sent into us, and I'm more than ready to start digging into those things and bring them back to life just like we did this piece. There's gonna be a lot of coating removal stuff. There's gonna be a lot of knowledge things that you guys can actually learn from these videos that you can start implementing at home. And if you guys are ready to start wet blasting at home, please take advantage of that little VH700. They're selling like hotcakes already. So to get one in your shop today, you can actually reach us again at 828-202-5563. And if you guys are actually looking more on the business side of things, again, we have a complete lineup of machines that can fit literal car engines, even larger, and we've actually got automated machines that are coming to the market. So if you guys are looking for the remanufacturing industry, manufacturing, whatever it may be, we have the solutions. We are ready to work with you guys here at Vapor Honda Technologies. Again, make sure you guys stay subscribed so you can check out the rest of this project. Should be hitting YouTube, Instagram, all of our socials pretty soon. And if you guys have any questions about vapor honing, any comments about this part, or anything that we do in general, please leave it in the comments below. We love to interact with you guys and hear what you have to say. But again, thank you all for watching. We hope you have a great day and enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Peace.